Hello, and welcome to this edition of Timeless Wisdom, where Mani and Vijay explore values and leadership lessons from ancient scriptures. Hello, Mani. Welcome again to our discussion as a part of Timeless Wisdom. So, what are we going to discuss today?
Hello, Vijay. It's one of my favorite values that Krishna described in the 13th chapter of the ancient scripture called Bhagavad Gita. We are going to discuss this value called Kshantih.
Kshantih. When I heard this word, the few things that comes to my mind are calmness or level-headedness.
Yeah, I mean, a direct translation from Sanskrit to English would have been forbearance or endurance.
Hmm.
But this actually communicates a very negative connotation that it is a resigned sufferance. But actually, a more positive translation will be accommodation.
Translating it as an accommodation is very empowering. And when I look at this word accommodation, what comes to my mind is immediately diversity, equity, and inclusiveness (DEI). A leader who is practicing Shanti will exhibit more inclusiveness in their approach and behavior, which in turn will influence the organization also. And I'm also looking at the major scheme of things here, wherein we are all in the COVID environment. And here, if you look at how we have come over this, or we are still struggling to come out of COVID, is all the three things that you mentioned about forbearance, endurance, and accommodation. All these things we are using it as a strength to come out of these things. All that we are trying to do is to control what we can control and accept the things which we cannot control. That's what comes to my mind.
Yes, Vijay. See, COVID is teaching us a lot of lessons, and we all wish it goes away soon. But similarly, we also expect people around us to change to our liking. But unfortunately, that may not happen. And what happens is this leads to issues in relationship and also a lot of anger, right? And I'm sure many of your coaches come to you expressing frustrations about their difficult bosses, difficult people, difficult job situations. So how do you help them achieve Kshanti?
You're right, Mani. One of the top issues, top five issues that people come is about one of the thing would be about Shanti or seeking Shanti. So the first thing I offer to my coachee is basically accepting the situation for what it is. And when we are accepting, we are also I encourage them to take full responsibility for the part they have played for being the situation as it is now. And that will help them to move from why me, like a victim mode, to what can I do from now on. That's an empowering mindset. So that's the first one. The second thing is about looking at opportunities in the current situation that usually comes disguised as problems and crisis. The third thing is to assume unconditional positive regard to the other person or the situation and start responding to the individual and not to their action. So we are basically delinking the personality and the action. And these generally brings about a clean shift. And when we look at the teamwork and collaboration, which is very much needed when we are working together, accommodation becomes a very important quality. So no two individuals are the same. We all come with our mixed bag of goods and bads. So accepting helps us to get over that fairy tale requirement of the ideal job, ideal partner, or ideal boss, and deal with the present.
Absolutely, Vijay. So there's nothing like a perfect world, right? So obviously, accommodation also helps, in building emotional intelligence, which all of us need. And I'm sure that's an important virtue that is always stressed by great leaders and for all corporate citizens.
Yeah, absolutely, Mani. Emotional intelligence is something which is absolute needed in the emerging world or emerged world, if I look at it. So when a mature leader who acts calmly without any reaction and does not bring power games into the interaction, the world becomes a lot more better. So the insecure leader generally comes out with, bringing in hierarchy, job titles, or ego into the discussion, and that derails the whole relationship. But with Shanti, the person comes out more authentically, and that is how the Shanti becomes a value which can be put into action.
Wonderful, Vijay. So another great ancient wisdom and another great example of how you connect it offering your coaching advice. So thank you very much, Vijay.